We are live. Manny says, let's go. Already. We're live. This is Mikey Wine here, aka Gundamonium Works. And we're still working on the 135 scale Tamiya M1A1 Abrams tank. And it's just photo etch, and more photo etch. Last week it was all photo etch. This week will be more of the same. But I can show you some stuff that I did complete, or parts of the photo etch. I mean, little things I did last week. And we'll go on from there. I got a mess of directions up because I gotta have the actual kit instructions here. And I've also got the photo etch that I've got to look at that so I can compare the two, because this shows the original and this shows the photo etch and how it goes together. So yeah, it's just a mess. But yeah, we'll do some more of that today for sure. Hey Mike, what's up? Hey, George is in the house. How's it going, man? It's Wednesday. It's hump day. Everybody's week going good so far. I'm doing good. I'm feeling better. Physically, I've been struggling with some lower back pain and stuff like that, but last 2 days have been pretty good. I've been able to work through the day and not have any real issues. Just taking some ibuprofen. And, sucks getting old, right, George? What's up, Angel? Angel's in the house. He's probably got it on his 9,500-inch TV, watching from his room, his nice little man cave. Anywho, let me show you what I've done since we talked last. Last week, I pretty much showed this piece, this auxiliary power supply, and all the buckles and little hinges and latches that I put on there. I did some more work to the exhaust. When I left the show last time, I was actually bending these two brackets here. Those are now installed. I've also installed two small hooks and a couple little plates. There's some small little details there. And then I've got those two little flanges where this whole exhaust grill goes on. So now this is pretty much ready to go on here. I know I've showed this before, but I'm going to put it on here one more time. So it kind of goes on like this. Just about like that. Okay. And I've got to, oh shit, tipped it over too far. Fortunately, it's all glued together nicely. So put this back on. Try not to break anything this time. So there's two little pinholes that I have to fill with an actual pin. And I was trying to come up with something small. It's supposed to be, the instructions say 0.8 millimeters. Holy crap. See, I got to read all these messages here. Doing better. Good, George. That's good to hear, Angel. You love getting old. Yeah, big ass Mike and on the wall. Just glad we have the privilege of getting old. That's right. We do have the privilege of getting old together. So, anyway, there's a pin that secures this on here, and I have to find something that's 0.8 millimeters in diameter. And I thought a paper clip would work. I don't have I got to find a small paper clip. The larger paper clips are just too big in diameter. So I've got to cut a piece that's supposed to be 0.8 millimeters in diameter and then 3.5 millimeters long. And that's supposed to secure that to the bottom, in theory, right? We'll find. I tried some wire that was too small, so I'll find something that'll work. But in the meantime, most of the work was done to this piece here. One of the things I did is I put these little brackets on the fenders here that hold the wires for the headlights, and this is taking this off of stock photos that I found. The wire just goes into the fenders here on either side. But what I did was I took some copper wire and I wrapped it around a small drill bit. Okay. And I made these little tiny rings. I don't know if you can see them here. There's little tiny copper rings on the paper. And so I did that, and each one of these points, there's a copper ring that holds it down, holds the wire down, here and here. And then the photo etch bracket that I installed here and here. So I don't know if I can even get this close enough to see those rings. But there you go. If you got full screen, you might be able to see that. There's one ring right here at this corner, one here, same with this side. And then it just goes down into the fender. So this piece is pretty much done. I also installed this other little bracket here, which is designed to catch the driver's hatch. If it was to be open, it catches that hatch right there and keeps it from swinging too far under the turret, I guess. But that's how that goes. I'm going to have the hatch closed anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but I wanted to include all the photo etch that I could. What's up, Tom? How's it going? And then my daughter asked me if I mind getting old. She was surprised when I said no. Yeah, and my kids don't ask me that anymore because they get barked at if they find out I'm too old. Oh, two other things. Actually, this piece is not done. I forgot. Two other things I have to put on are the fender. In the front of the fenders, there's like a little rubber mud guard, and there's two pieces of photo etch that I still have to put on. One of them is right here, and I've already kind of bent it. It's supposed to simulate like a rubber flap, almost like a mud flap. So this one will actually go on this side, and that has to be glued on to the front here. I've already taken a chisel and I sliced off the original here. So each one of these came off. Now that was on this side. This one here came off of this side. What's up, Flips? Flips is in. Is that Brian? Am I catching that right? Sorry if I don't remember everybody's names other than their call signs. But here we are. Another show, another day. And so I'm going to try to glue those on tonight. And I've got another piece I have to glue. It's not photo etch, but it's part of the kit that goes under here on the bottom side of this. And I think that's for securing it when it's glued down. And then this will be pretty much ready for primer. But there are some more pieces that go on each side of that. The armor, the side armor, also has some photo etch on it. So I'm going to try to get some of this done. I just kind of scattered around and doing piece little bits at a time. Yeah, oops, what did I do here? Screwed up my screen with my mouse. Haven't memorized everyone's name. Shame. Sorry, George. I haven't been doing this as long as you have. I know it took you some time, right? Maybe I just contribute that to being old. I don't remember everybody's name because I'm too damn old. So, anyway, good to have everybody in. Next week, next week I will not be on. I'm going to be in Portland for training, so I won't. It's a stupid middle of the week class. It's on Tuesday and Wednesday, so I won't be back home in time to do a show. So we'll have to miss next week, but not to worry, I will be on the following. So anyway, let's get started. Let's figure out what we're going to do next here. Let's see. Get two of those brackets there. Yeah, that's all side armor. So we've got some chisels here that I've been using. Some of the details that we have to replace with photo etch, I've got to scrape off, and I've been using my wider chisels to kind of do that. Just kind of peel them off and sand them nice and smooth, and then that way it's a lot easier than trying to cut it off with a razor blade. The chisels work great for that kind of thing. Live stream from training? No, you don't want to. I'm going to be doing a class for restraints, like airbags and all sorts of. It's just going to be electrical and occupant detection systems and stuff like that. It's all fun stuff for the automotive industry, but I don't need to bore you with that. And I don't think they'll let me live stream from class, to be quite honest. So Not going to happen. Besides, it would actually be after I'd be driving home during when the stream would be normally running. So because it gets out at 4 o'clock in Portland, and then I've got another 3 or 4 hours to drive home in traffic on Wednesday night. So it'll be way late before I even get back to be able to live stream. So sorry to say, sad to say, it won't be on. Are you teaching or learning? I'm learning. Any kind of training that I go to now is for Subaru. So it's just it's stuff to get me certified in the brand. I've been master certified for Lexus and Toyota and Mitsubishi over my career. Now I'm trying to get it for Subaru. So I got a lot of these training courses to do. Some of them are online stuff that I can do at home or at work, and other ones I have to do at the training center in Portland. And there is another training center in Washington here, but it's pretty limited to as far as what classes are available there. So if I ever get one that's in town, it'd be easy. But excuse me. But most of them I have to go to Portland. But fortunately, my brother lives about 30 minutes away. So on the classes that I have that end on a Friday, instead of driving back on Friday night, I can stay at his place and then come back Saturday morning. It makes it a little bit easier than trying to drive in traffic after you've been in class all day. It's kind of a pain in the butt. So anyway, enough of that. Let's get going. I think I took this piece out because I might want to cut some more stuff off the runners here. But I think what I'm going to do first, instead of, this is the stowage, the rear stowage, and there's a big piece of photo etch screen that goes in the bottom of that. But I think instead of doing this, I'm going to pull these the side armor off the runners, and then there's some pieces that I have to cut off and replace with photo etch, and that's right here on the front corner. Look at this here, the front corner of the side armor there. There's like a square. I don't know really what it's for, but it's supposed to be hollow, and of course it's not hollow with the molded plastic. So we're going to cut that off. I'm going to shave that off and then replace it with a piece of photo etch that's going to take 2 bends. It's just a piece of almost like it'll almost be bar, kind of like a square bar stock when I'm done, but it's only 3-sided really, and then we'll glue those on. So what I've got to do is carefully pull this out, and we're going to cut these side skirt pieces off. King side, I'd love to visit Seattle and Portland. Yeah, man, we'd love to have you. There's so much to do, and there's so much to see, and the water's nice. There's lakes and the Puget Sound. There's all sorts of things we can do. That'd be awesome. Maybe one of these days, like in April when we do our IPMS show, maybe you can come out for that, because that would be good. Then we could do the show and visit at the same time. So just throwing on my magnifiers here so I can see what the hell I'm doing. Yes, this is, Tom, this is a 135 Abrams. It's an older one. I don't know. I think they made a newer version, but I'm not absolutely sure on that. I've had this kit for a while. A friend of mine actually gave it to me because I told him one day if I ever build an armor kit, I'd like it to be an M1A1 Abrams. And he reached into his garage and just pulls out this kit from a pile of stuff. And I didn't even know he had one. He just happened to have the same one that I mentioned. I was just kind of blown away. So I've had it all these years. And a few weeks back, I was finishing up a project, and I asked everybody on the stream to help me decide what to build next. And this is what we came up with. So we're doing the 135 Abrams. Now, I will say this again. I don't know how accurate all this photo etch is for the type that I'm building. I had one friend of mine here in Washington who used to be an ex-tanker, and he drove Abrams tanks, I think. I don't know if he drove them, but he was a crew on one, a part of a crew. And he said that some of the photos I was using as references were Marine versions versus the Army version. So I really don't know what version I'm coming up with, and I don't care. It's going to look good when I'm done. Whether it's accurate or not, I'm sure the rivet counters are going to tear it apart anyway, so it doesn't matter. I'm just going to add as much photo etch as I can and paint it up real nice, weather it real nice, and it will be something to put on the table. I did put my F14 on the table during the IPMS show, and it got a highly commended ribbon. So it didn't place or anything. It just got highly commended, which is all I received with all of my entries that weekend. But that's another discussion about judging. And I don't think it's necessarily their fault. I think it's just the way that IPMS does their judging. They don't look for certain things, or they don't know what to look for when they judge Gundam or sci-fi type stuff. They're used to looking at tanks and armor, ships, cars, aircraft. Sci-fi stuff seems, or at least some of the sci-fi stuff seems to slip through the cracks. But because I saw stuff that placed and it had injection pin marks and nub marks and everything, and it was just like, oh my god. F14, what size? It was the Tamiya F14A 148 scale. And I'm gonna take these off. I can't do both when I'm can't see the screen. It's Mike's version. That's what matters. Yeah, screw rivet counters. That's right. I know, just like the tank you built, right, George? It was just like, you know what? I don't care if it's accurate or not. It's just going to look nice. Let's see. He has a line with his house. What does it say? Yep. He has to live. Oh, his house. So it's whatever pleases. That's true. That is true, Angel. They judge things by the book comparison to real life. It seems, well, how do you what's the book on Gundam models? I mean, I think any model with an injection pin mark or a nub mark that would be something I would count against, right? Take points off. They don't do by point system. They really just look at what's available on the table, narrow it down to their top three, and then they go from there and see who wins. There's no real point system for it. They just have to look at. But some of the stuff was just blatantly overlooked, and I was just kind of surprised by that. Realistically, it just, you'd think those were basic things that should be seen, and they just were overlooked. So it is what it is. George says, I think it depends on the chapter. Here we experienced Gundam. Oh, good. Well, that's good. I think you're right about that, George. And I think maybe you're onto something too, because last year we had it before COVID, I was asked to help judge the Gundam category. Now, I couldn't judge all of the Gundams because I was in some of those categories, but I did a lot of the smaller scale stuff. And so I was there to educate those guys on what to look for, and also what to notice, the notice between something that has been modified versus out of box, because they really don't know. They don't have any experience with that kind of stuff. All right, Mecca. Have a nice dinner. See you guys. See George live tomorrow. Good, man. Take care. Thanks for stopping in. So yeah, I think maybe education is the key, and maybe it's time for one of us to join the chapter up here and bring those that knowledge to the table and say, hey, here's what you need to be judging on. Here's what you need to be looking for, because they were looking at paint jobs and stuff like that, and that's fine because they were beautiful paint jobs, but there were basic skills that I think would count against and were overlooked, especially nub marks and injection pin marks. If you're going to compete at that level, those should be things that are addressed during the build and not just painted over. And anyway, So all in all, it was a good event. It was crowded because it was obviously 3 years since we've been able to do it, and there was a lot of people there. So it was fun, and I actually won a ton of raffle prizes, and I bought a nice kit. So I had a good time, even though I didn't take as many pictures as I wanted to. I should have taken more, but I was too busy running around just either spending money or collecting raffle prizes. So this is the side armor piece. One of them, one of two. There's the other side. This is what I'm talking about. This little square bit on the top, right in front, right here. This has got to come off, and then we're going to be replacing it with a hollow piece of photo etch that has to be folded 2 times. Real simple. There's nothing complex about that piece of photo etch. This bender will work perfectly for it. Some of this stuff has some pretty complex bends where you have to bend one side first and then you got to fold it back the other direction, just like these two brackets that are on the back of this exhaust. There is one, two, three, four folds per bracket. So you have to go, you almost have to plan on which one you're going to fold first and how you're going to achieve the desired result. So what is up? It's Forest Ghost in the house. How you doing, man? Another Mike. That's right. Forest Ghost is Mike. See, I got to remember these. I hear you talk about them every morning, George, but then they just poof. I'm horrible with names, and even when I'm meeting somebody out in public, I'll go, "Oh, so and so, how are you doing?" And I'll hear their name, and then 2 seconds later, it's gone. And I'll be asking my wife, "So what was that guy's name again? What was that person's name again?" I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to chop these off. This is pretty easy because it's right on the corner of this piece. There's not a whole lot of detail to it. I just need to shave those off and make sure it's straight, flat, and then I'll cut out the photo etch. Doing good, man. All right. Nice to see. Nice to hear, Mike. Nice to hear. I'm just going to not use these stupid ear things. These glasses don't stay on real well, so I got to put my little ear hooks on there, but it's too hard to keep taking them on and off. I can't see the screen real well when I have them on because they're so magnified. Yeah, so you just chop that off and then I'll sand it flat and be done with it. Real easy. All right. Don't know where Big John is. Fozzie Bear, my buddy Fozzie Bear, who's been on most of the time, he comes on and checks in with us. I don't know if he's moving. I tried to talk to him today. I think he might be moving to Arizona, but I don't remember when he was going. If it was by the end of May, because now, it might be the end of May. Yeah, I think it was to the end of May. But anyway, hopefully he'll pop in tonight. Time for bifocals. I don't know. I've tried bifocals with my regular glasses, and I had a hard time adjusting to them because I'm farsighted. I can see good up close, like right here. Close to my face is fine. It's everything at distance that I have a problem with. And the only problem is the reason I need the magnifiers is because if I get this close, right up next to my face, well, then I'm too close and I'm blurry. So if I get too far away, then I can't see the fine detail. So I use the magnifier so I can get real close to my face, and if I have to see, and the ones I'm using are adjustable. They go from 0.5 millimeter all the way to 4 times magnification, which really works well with some of this photo etch stuff because it is tiny. I was looking at some of these things, like just these little hinges, like the little hinges right here, and here. Those hinges are probably maybe 2 millimeters wide. It's just so tiny. It's ridiculously small. So, all right, I cut those 2 pieces off, sanded them down. Now, we got to replace them with 62. So there's going to be 1 on each sheet. There's 2 of these, so there's 1 on each. So 62 is Right. Oh, there it is. Yeah, yeah, that's pretty easy to see. Gotta zoom way in so I can get up close and cut these. I'm gonna pop this camera up just slightly so you guys can see more of the table. Okay, so I'm cutting this number 62 out here. And I know I mentioned it before. Whenever you're cutting out photo etch with a razor, make sure that it's a brand new blade, or at least new enough that it's not dull by any means. It makes it so much easier to cut out because you're basically cutting through pretty thin metal. But if you got a dull blade, all it does is bend up your photo etch and leave, pretty ridiculous nubs that you have to try to get rid of. And I use diamond files to sand off any or grind down any excess nubs that are on here. So there's 3 attachment points on each one of these, 1 on one side, 2 on the other. I'm just going to take down that nub with this diamond file, flip it over, and do the other side. Magnifiers are better than bifocals. Yeah, I tend to agree with you there. I mean, it depends on your application. I mean, for something like what I'm doing, yeah, I need to be able to get up close and see what I'm looking at. But I do have a nice set of bifocals that I got, and then I also ended up getting a pair of progressive ones, and that was like looking through a fishbowl. And they told me that when I got them, they were actually safety glasses that I had made for work. This place I was working at would pay for prescription safety glasses, so I ended up giving them my prescription, and I said, I told them, I'll try progressives. But they did tell me it's an interesting. It's different than bifocals. It's almost like looking through a fishbowl. It takes some getting used to, but I don't know. I have a hard time with that kind of dual lens, whether it's progressive or a bifocal. I just I wear my glasses when I need to see far away, and I take them off if I'm looking up close. Okay, so here's this piece of photo etch, just flat photo etch, and if you can see, if it focuses, there are 2 lines. Can you see those lines? That's my fold lines there. So I'm going to take it in the bender, and I'm just going to fold it 90 degrees, each one of those, and it'll make like a box or a rectangular type box. So what we're going to do is we're just going to plop this down. And where's my razor blade? There it is. Okay. So this goes under the bending plate, right up to that fold line to get it positioned right. There we go. Almost got. Oh, no, it moved on me. Damn it. So you gotta kind of get it down and then cinch it down. All right. Once it's ready to bend, actually, I need to adjust it. It's too far in. Definitely take your time on this stuff because if you bend it wrong, it's really hard to bend it back because mental fatigue takes over, especially with how thin this stuff is. If you start bending stuff back and forth, what happens? It breaks. And then you end up having to glue several pieces together because it's separated on you. So there, we're going to just slide this under, bring it up 90 degrees. Okay, that's the first one. Pretty easy. Now we're going to flip it and do the other side. When we bend this up, we'll have our box. Okay. All right. Just like that. Okay. So now, it's still pretty small. Only about 4 millimeters long. So there's our box. You can kind of see it. It's a little bit hard. My camera's not focusing on it, but if I can get it to focus, I might be able to see it. But anyway, that is going to replace that piece on the front. So that will go right up here. Just like that. It's only sitting up here now, but that's where it's going to go. And it fits perfectly. So first I'm going to bend the other one and get them both ready, and then we'll glue them on. I got to get the other one on the board here. What's up, Julius? What's going on? How are you? Everybody's doing just fine in here. Everybody's having a good time, relaxing. And I'm just bending some photo etch. Loosen that up, take it on the other side. These straight bends are by far the easiest and the quickest to achieve. There's a couple of brackets that I have to fold for the smoke launchers, and those are going to be tricky because they're done at some weird angles because it fits basically on the side of the turret, or the turret. So they mount kind of at a weird angle, so there's some complex folds there. At least maybe it sounds like it is just by looking at it, but it might be pretty simple. I don't know. All right, now I got both of those folded up. Now I can glue them on. There's quite a few pieces actually that go on these side skirts. That goes in the front, but then there's several chains that hang from these two brackets. There's some chains that wrap around that hang on the side. There's actually one in the back, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be using that because this disc portion here, this photo etch disc, that goes on the drive gear in the back. And so I think in order for me to do that, we have to remove this rear panel. So we probably won't be using that one because the photo that I have, in fact, I can bring it up. The photo I have shows that piece removed. Let's see. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, so here's the photo that I found online. And so you can see that drive gear in the back, and that piece of armor, that side armor, is actually missing. This is, I'll be jumping on a plane tomorrow for a 5-hour flight to Virginia to attend an nephew's high school graduation. Well, that's cool. That's awesome. So yeah, so you see how this in the back here, there's that, let's zoom in on it. There's that armor piece that's removed. You see that plate that goes over the drive gear. So I'll be taking that piece off when I get to that point. So let's see what this says. It's kind of, you can always go higher. I'll give you an idea of the process. Okay. Perfect. Got some good news, boys and girls. Good news. I'm investing some money, and I got some good news just a minute ago, so that's good. Good to hear. Anyway, let's see what else we got. All right. Okay. Pretty good so far? All right, I'm gonna glue these two pieces on. Just gonna be taking my, I think I still got a little bit. After you use this glue for a while, the nozzle starts to get clogged up. I've been pretty good about keeping it clear, but over time, it gets harder and harder to keep it clear. Okay, so how do we want to do this? I think what I'm going to do is I can grab this from the top. Gotta make sure that's straight. Okay. And grab this from the top. And I think what I'm going to do is just dip the edges along this in the glue. And I can take off any excess, but I can just place this on. Where does it go? Yeah, it goes right up to the front. And just basically place it right on where it's supposed to go. Just like that. That worked out good. Wipe off any excess on the sides. Try not to oversaturate the glue, just because I don't want the glue to be visible to people looking at the piece, going, "Oh my God, there's just gloppy stuff everywhere." So just making sure that my bends are good, my angles are good before I try to glue it on there. So now for the other side. There we go. Stick it down. Not too much glue there. Looks good. And again, this is a military vehicle, so things aren't going to be perfect. Paint job's not going to be perfect. Welds and stuff nothing's going to be pretty and clean like a fine automobile. It's a rough and tough little machine, so it's going to be fairly decent, but I'm not worried about small imperfections, because all that stuff will just add to the realistic look. Okay, so there are, now you can see those two. Oh my gosh, I can't get those to focus on the ends of these. That piece of photo etch, that bar, that tube. So it's basically a hollow tube on each end, and those are right in front. So that's good. I'm not sure if I should put those chains on now or wait. I guess I could. There's two, there's three, there's supposed to be three, but remember, I'm taking this back portion off, so it's not going to be used. Everything else has been done there. So, all right, let's see what those chains look like. I can always decide whether or not I want to put them on later or not. First off, and it's just, those are straight, just bend them by hand. There's really no need for the photo etch bender there. So those are number 25. And in this kit, there are there's six of those chains, so 3 for each side. But since I'm only using 2, and these are pretty delicate. But one thing I noticed, or I discovered through this process, is I can use, because I was trying to sand these things, the little nubs off, and some of these pieces are so small. It's like, how do you hold it? How can you hold it by hand and actually sand them off? And then I remembered I've got this photo etch bender, so I can actually put the piece under here, crimp it down with just the edge sticking out, and then I can easily take my file and sand those little nubs off without having to hold it with my fingertips. So what I'm going to do is take this piece. The little eyelets is where they were attached. You can see the chain here. Let me see if I can lift it up. I can pick it up. My tweezers. So that's the little chain. Almost focus for a second. Come on. So it's basically a chain with there it is, a chain with two larger rings at one at either end. And so, but they attached right on the ends of these larger rings where the nub's going to be. So what I'm going to do is just place this under the bender here with just the edge of that sticking out, and then I can take my file and easily sand off that thing without having to hold the whole piece. It's going to make a liar out of me. I didn't put it underneath enough. Let's darn it. All right, this is going to be easier if I do it the other way. So I'm going to take this and rotate it around. Come in on the other side. There we go. Just take the piece of etch. Crimp it down nice and tight. There we go. And then I can just, oh gosh, it's not going to work like I said it was. I just did this the other day with a smaller piece, but it was on the edge. So I'm wondering if having it in the center is just not working out. I might have to hold it by hand after all. Which is fine too. I just take the edge of the file, just pinch it between the fingers nice and tight. So, well, these chains are, I guess the way it's made, it bends very naturally, almost like a real chain. That's what's crazy when I was just moving it in my fingers. So I'm just taking this little nub off of that outer ring. A little bit more. I only want to model trees from here on out. What? Trees? A little bit more on this other one. Each one of these has two sides to it, so I gotta be real careful. Just there we go. Okay, now this is supposed to, looks like it attaches so there's two hinges here, and so these are supposed to just curve around. These are interesting. Trying to give them a natural bend. They basically just kind of make a U shape because those larger rings attach at the top on either side. Set that down before I knock that piece off. So I'm just going to kind of play around with this until I get it. There we go. All right, so it's kind of shaped like a U shape now. And then those rings will attach to this bracket on either side. Oh, and I just dropped it. So here and here, kind of like that. I'm going to take those rings and bend them in. But that should look really, really nice. Take those up like that. There we go. Once I get this attached, I'll be able to show you a lot easier. This is just a lot of careful bending because these pieces are so thin. So yeah, that's going to go on either side just like that. Yeah, that's going to look good. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to glue one side at a time. Because once I get one attached, then I can actually take the other side and bend it properly and get the right fit. So I'm just going to put a dab here. Take my toothpick and put a little dot of glue. All right, now, oh, there they are. Okay, I thought I lost one. I wasn't paying attention to the other ones on the table. So let's stick that on there. Glue it down. You're going to be finicky. All right, try this again. I had a drop of glue on there, but I may need to use some accelerator just to get it to set. It has to kind of sit on there and go and bend. Okay, that's pretty good right there. And if I just let that sit for a second, crap, what came off? Damn it. It keeps flexing on itself. I need to hold it with my tweezers, but all right, I'm going to use some accelerator on it. Reapply a little dot. There we go. Seriously. Oh my goodness. This thing's fighting me. There we go. Finally. I just had to use some damn accelerator on it. That was giving me a pain in my ass. And you can see what we're trying to achieve there. Now there's just this chain hanging over the edge. I'm going to bend it back to make it more natural looking, but once I get the two ends glued on, I can do that. Because it bends so very easily. It's not going to take much to... Before I do that, some of that accelerator in here, and I gotta soak it up. And if I put my drop of glue on there, it's gonna instantly set. I gotta have a couple seconds to work with. So let me put another drop of glue here. This is what's the most time-consuming part. It's just putting this, putting the glue on everything and gluing all these pieces on. But it's the end result. The photo etch adds so much to the detail of the project. It's well worth it in the end. There we go. You may wonder what I'm doing with the towel here. What I'm doing is, because I put a drop of that accelerator on, but too much of it just sits there and it won't fully set because it's just sitting in a puddle of that, little puddle of that. It's just one drop, but it's a small puddle of that accelerator. So by taking my paper towel, I can suck some of that out. It'll wick it out, and then the end result is it'll dry. It'll set where I want it to. Okay, now that those are glued, I can press this down, and now you can see that chain hanging on the side there. Very natural looking. And I'll put some chipping around that too, because I know the chains are going to kind of swing back and forth, so there'll be some scraping. And the paint will be removed. There'll be a little bit of rust there. So I'll be able to do that on both chains. So now, rinse and repeat. Got 3 more chains to install. For the time being, I'm going to put my glue away because I got to clean up 3 more of those chains, the little end pieces. Actually, I found out better I did it by hand, I think. Right. Thanks, George. Yeah, I like these little details. It certainly helps to the. I've even I looked at a stowage package for this you can buy on, and it's just, oh no, my chain just broke. Son of a bitch. See, this is why you got to be real careful with these. No problem, I can fix it, but I was trying to sand that nub off, and because these are so thin, it took that link off. So I'm gonna glue this on now, and then I'll have to just glue that ring on at the top when I get there. These I've even got, I found a stowage package that has a bunch of resin boxes and comes with like a set of water bottles and all sorts of crazy stuff to put, in there. Some like name brand ration boxes and stuff like that. So it's cool. So I may end up buying that too, so I can put some of those in there in that stowage area. There's even like little, I can't remember. There's got little bottles. I've got some 135 scale bottles too, like little drinking bottles or empty beer bottles and stuff. Depends on what I want to do. All right, another drop of glue here. I was going to do the other 2, but because I broke this one, I'm going to fix it real quick. I'm going to glue this side on, and then I can glue that other chain on and fix it before I do any further here. Any further damage. Yeah, that just goes on right there. Okay. So I've got to do two things here. I'm going to glue this other eyelet on because that's what actually just broke off. That's going to be the easy part. Set this down real quick. So I learned something with these chains. I've got to really be careful when sanding those eyelets because just by being in my fingers, the file bent it over too far and it actually caused it to break right off. So I'm just going to set this in place. Maybe hit that width. And I'll just bring the chain up to it and glue it together. That'll be easy. Problem solved. So if I do that, there we go. I got the chain in position. I'm just going to grab a little bit of drop of glue. And I'll hit it with some accelerator and it shouldn't even see the difference there. Okay. One drop. All right. Let that dry for a second. All right. Where are we at? We're at 7 o'clock. We'll keep going for at least another 30 minutes. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing so far? Everybody relaxing, having a good time? Just putting the natural bend on this chain here. There we go. Okay. Now we've got both chains in place. And the third one would normally go in the back, but again, that piece is going to be cut off. So at least that gives me a couple extra to use in case I do make another mistake like I did. I suppose I could have just cut off one of the newer ones. I'm not worried about the one that broke, but fixing it is also okay too. I'm going to be real ginger this time. Make sure I don't make that mistake. I think I just got too aggressive, and because it was a little bit of a nub sticking up, it snagged the file and just bent that eyelet over. It's too much for this little chain. All right, so I did one side of that one. I got to do the other side here. So George, how's the weather over there in Massachusetts? I know here it just actually we had a hot weekend, and it's actually been in the 90s a couple of days, and now it's been in the 80s. Holy mackerel, where'd that go? I went to set that down and it just flung on me. Today was a little bit cooler, but it's still pretty warm up in my office here. Making a chore much less painful. Doing good, listening to folding laundry. All right. It's a good way to pass the time. I've got to do a little bit of that too when I get done here. Fold my socks and underwear. Just taking off that little bit of nub on the top of these rings. Okay, that's good. So now I can bend. I'm going to use actually my needle nose here so I can kind of control the bend. There we go. quite work out the way I want it to. There we go. Get that positioned about right, and then I kind of bend over these rings because they kind of hang over the edge of this this piece, because the hinges are further back than the edge. So that one's about ready to go. All right, another drop of glue. Oops. Take my weather's been okay, sunny but chilly. Like chilly as in what kind of temp? Like 60s or 50s or what? Is where we're accustomed to rain here. It rains quite a bit. But we have about 2 weeks of really, really hot weather here, and it can get pretty warm. I kind of like those days that are sunny but still a little chilly, It's okay. So that one's set beautifully right where I wanted it. Oops, I'm going to let that dry a little bit first. 40s and 50s, huh? Yeah. That's kind of what we get here most days. In the winter, it gets colder, but I can do 40s and 50s just fine. I don't mind that one bit. I certainly don't miss, it being, like when I was in California, the freaking half the state is on fire half the year, It seems like there's always a wildfire going. It's always burning. Always hot. I guess I grew up there and it's nice, but I don't regret it. I like it here. I like having 4 actual seasons, California is just hot. You get rain every once in a while, but it's just always hot, it seems like. Always hot. All right, now I'm ready for the last chain here. I think I missed a little bit on this side. I'm just bending these in so they hang over the edge. A little test here. I think we're good. Close enough. All right. Once that dries, then I can bend them down and give them that more natural look to it. Good. Nice. All right. 1 drop of glue. Oops. Come on. Get on there. There we go. Fortunately, you get a little bit of time to. Where'd my towel go? Oh, fell off. You get a little bit of time to. Not much, but a little bit of time to work with that before that accelerator finally fully sets. Not a lot. Gotta be quick. And try not to get your tweezers stuck in the process. All right. Perfect. Let that sit for a second. All right, that's 4 chains installed. Once this one dries for a second, I can reposition it. Yeah, seasons are a must. Yes, they are. I never, I lived so long in California, I was just used to it being hot all the time, never. I mean, there's cold months, but just not that many. It's always freaking hot. If you do get some CA glue on your tweezers, it comes off real easy with the blade. All right, so there's the second set of chains. Right, and again, I'm going to put some nice scratches, where you ever see the back of like a trailer truck, big rig trailer or something, and it has those chains on there. You just see those. You can see those marks where it's just been scraping back and forth. I kind of think that that's what these would look like too. Pretty sure that would be the norm for that kind of thing. Okay, I think these 2 side pieces are good to go for now until I cut off those. But I'm not going to worry about that till later. All right, so we got another piece of the kit here. Actually, I'm going to get rid of this glue first before I get stuck on it. So this is, I think, there's a battery. This will be interesting. There's a battery, or it's actually not a battery. I think it's just a storage box, but there's the kit part, and then it looks like a box with a handle. I got to cut the handle strap off the top and shave that off because there's going to be a photo etch one to go on in its place. And this is B4. Let's see what B4 is. Oh, there's 4 of them. Yeah. So that's these little guys here. These little boxes. They almost look like batteries. They might actually be batteries. But anyway, I've got to shave off the handles on top, and then there's like a little tray and a strap that goes around it, and the photo etch is a tray. So I'm going to make 4 of those, it looks like. So that mounts. Okay. That's one of those things I'm going to have to reference back and forth between the actual kit instructions and it doesn't show those battery boxes going on there. It's interesting. This is something we put on later. I'm looking. I don't see it. Oh, there they are. Yeah, they kind of, they're ammo boxes. That's what they are. So the ammo boxes have a little handle on top. So it looks like there's at least 2 on the model, maybe more. There's 4 on the runners here. So let me see how many straps are. 63 is the number of the 63. Oh, okay. Well, there's definitely enough. There's 6 total on the photo etch. Yeah. So there's definitely enough to go around. There's only 4 of these ammo boxes on the kit. Oh gosh, they're all hollow underneath. I hope that's not, oh good, that's not going to be the case. The little tray, there's a photo etch tray that holds each one of these, and that will cover up this big gaping hole in the bottom of these ammo boxes. But yeah, I think the photo etch handle is going to look nice, because it just needs to be like a little bit of raised strap, and there's 2 little tabs that go down. So I'm going to clip off 2 of these to start with, and we'll look into putting those pieces on right now. Hang this back up. I don't think there's anything else. Yeah, there's nothing else to take off on the side of these or on top. Just those, just the handle. There, that's good. Okay. All right, and that's what I got these 2 larger chisels for. I've got my 1.7 millimeter out, and that's just wide enough to shave off this raised material, take off this original handle. Just kind of gradually dig down, slowly, peeling it off until it's level enough that I can just sand the rest off. Until I don't see any more of that embossed. There we go. Ooh, the strap has to go around first. Huh. Interesting. I may have to rethink this, because there's a handle that goes on top, but there's a strap that goes around it, and it latches onto that tray. But then it looks like the end of that strap attaches to this side piece that's on the side of the turret. Might be. Let me see. Yeah, it looks like it might be. Huh. Okay. I'm going to have to take a little more time to research that and look at it and carefully make sure that I'm not installing it incorrectly. So in the meantime, I'm going to shave this handle off of this one. A little deep on that. That's all right. I can smooth it out with a sanding stick just fine. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to take, how's there? That says part D15 and 17. Okay, part 14 and 18. Oh, okay. B, O, and D. And D. Oh, those are here. Okay. D14 and 15. I got that. And 17 and 18. Oh, okay. Now I understand. There's a top piece. All right. So Got a little bit of assembly to do here. Cut some of these off the runner and glue some parts together. Let's see, where is that in here? There we go. So 18 goes with 14. That's 14. All right, so 18 goes with it. 17 goes with this one. And two more of those latches that have to go on there too. That I did on the previously on the side here. These type of little handles. Those little tiny handles here and here. I had to put those. I have to put two more of those on each one of these. So there's four more of those little handles that got to go on. Those were kind of complex too because each handle has two pieces to it. Little tiny photo etch, little bracket that has to be glued on first, and then it's glued onto the piece. I have to also shave off the molded ones that are on here on the kit because they look like bumps. Really, there's no detail to them at all. Okay, so trimming these down. I need a smaller stick for this. Time check 7:18. We'll go to at least 7:30. Should be 10:30 for you East Coast boys. At least. And then we'll reconvene in a couple of weeks. So I'm just taking the knobs off of these. Let's just here real quick. Okay. This kit isn't too bad, but you can tell it's an older one because there's quite a few mold lines on some of the sides. You can definitely see if you don't, you'll just look right past them, easily overlook them. Not on my watch. Make sure we get rid of all that. Put an extra rivet on there just for the rivet counters. Just taking those mold lines off the sides here. That one's deep. Just take an extra. There we go. All right. So, let's see. That goes here like so. This goes like so. So this just pops onto the top. Just like that. Not a whole lot to it, really. And those batteries, and I'm sorry, I keep saying batteries. These ammo boxes go like right here. They just kind of pop on right on the back. See right there? Boom. It kind of sits like that. So the tray has to go underneath it, and then there's a strap that goes around and attaches. So this might be something I'm going to have to, I don't know, I might have to paint. Ammo boxes, I'm sure, will be a different color. So I might have to do some hand painting. I'm not sure, because this strap's got to go around. In order to put these on with the photo etch, I'm going to have to secure it to this piece. So I can't really paint it beforehand. It would be too much of a pain. So I think I'm going to have to just do some hand painting on those boxes. I'll paint the base color of the tank, and then the little ammo box won't be much to hand paint. That's easy. All right. I guess I'll glue these lids on. This will go on the side, if I'm not mistaken. This goes on something around here on the side of the turret. I may have the wrong side. I'm just kind of holding up here, but there's two little holes, so I'm pretty sure it goes right just like that on the side of the turret. So that's why we're not worried about this void underneath, because it'll sit up flat. I just need to glue this lid down. So I do that with my regular Tamiya thin cement. A little bit heavy. There we go. There's going to be railings too that are attached to these as well. Once they're on there, then the stowage rails will go around the back of this. A lot of layers. I'm just trying to think about, as I'm doing this, about painting and how, what order to assemble certain things. I'm also trying to decide on the paint scheme, because there's two that are on the box. There's the old sand color, standard Iraqi tank looking paint scheme, and then there's I think it's a English version, European version, where it's a camo paint. So I'm not sure what scheme I want to go with. I think the camo would be cool, but I also want to be able to weather it nicely and see that rust and grime and stuff. And I know that would be easier to see on maybe a tan paint scheme like the American version Iraqi tanks. All right, so those will dry on there, and we'll figure out the photo etchers. There's about, looks like three pieces per ammo box, including the tray. The tray is number 48, so that's right here. The strap that holds it down is number 10. Oh wait, that's going to be on this one, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's 10. Actually, looks like a leather strap with buckles, which it may very well be. So yeah, there's some buckles there, and then, gosh, that's tiny. And then it looks like, and then you have the handle that goes on top, which is number 63, and those are right here. All right, so maybe we'll get to see that when we come back. I'll have those finished. Right now, we're getting close to 7:30. Let's start wrapping things up. Oh, let's see. One pine tree complete, heading to bed. All right. Thanks, Mike. Have a good night, buddy. We'll see you next time, I'm sure. Hopefully. It's good having you in the room. I know it's kind of hard for some of you East Coast guys, being up late for me here on the West Coast. But yeah, good having everybody here tonight. So, like George would say, continue doing what you do to brighten the world. You know, it's all true. It's all good. Good. Yeah. So I got some good news today. Looks like we're going to be able to maybe invest. We'll see. See what happens with that. Anyway, once again, thanks for joining me. Thanks for coming in and spending time and building. Continue doing what you do. Continue building cool model kits. Tell your friends. Like and subscribe. And I know that there's a little bell icon there you can hit to remind you when I'm going to be on every Wednesday at 6 p.m. That's what I plan to do, unless I'm in training in Portland or something like that. So anyway, with that, we'll call it a night. Thanks again, everybody, for coming in. And I'm going to keep moving on this photo etch. There's a lot to do, so it's tedious work, but I think in the end, the end result is going to be well worth it. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see where we get, how far we get in 2 weeks. Because like I said, I won't be here next week, so hopefully I'll have some time to sit on the bench here and finish most of this stuff, and then be able to, or some of it, and be able to give you a nice update in the middle of the week. I haven't put one on my page in a while. I've just been doing the videos here, so it's about time I take some photographs and upload some photos, and that way you guys can get a good look at some close-ups and stuff. So anyway, thanks again. You guys have a great night. We'll talk to you. We'll see you on the flip next, not this next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after. And yeah, it's all good. Thanks for coming in. Talk to you soon.